Willkommen bei der Pairing Mode. Ich bin aus Toronto, Canada.
I don't think we have any Germans. Robert from Nashville. This is the pairing mode, if you didn't catch any of that.
Well, now that you've seen that and the intro, let me explain. I just wanted to say it in a different language and try to welcome and hopefully some new people. Maybe next week I might, maybe I'll do it in French. We'll see about that. We got an interesting show for you today because, well, not everything we're going to talk about is AI, but there's some good news and some weird news and some techie news and some new products and some new softwares. Robert, let's get started. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, I think the first thing I want to get out of the way is this whole Anthropic thing. Because I don't know if it's been big news there. It's been big news in the States. Because obviously, as we spoke in the previous episode, Anthropic, the government, were having a little spiff. Government used Claude in their Venezuelan,
right?
Hijack. Claude didn't like that. Anthropic called them up, said, "Hey, what are you doing?" They said, "You can't tell us what we can do."
No.
Anthropic said, "Yeah, you don't do this, don't do that." And the government said, "You're out." And now ChatGPT's in. Anyways, it's been this huge firestorm. It's been all over the news, and of course, Sam Altman is like, "Oh." It's like Horseshack. He wants in, and he got in, and so now he's got the contract, and I guess ChatGPT is now an official, AI component of the Department of War. But keep in mind, they're still using Claude because the government's basically just said, "I don't care what you say, Anthropic. We like your model, whether you want us to use it or not."
Yeah.
But ultimately, Anthropic has control because they control the database. They control what happens on the back end. So,
right.
I don't know.
And financially speaking, what was the quick result of that news?
Well, yeah. So over the last several days, Claude has set the records for installs from the app stores, both Android and iOS. And ChatGPT has seen an almost 300% uninstallation rate.
That's right. But I was referring, actually, I was going to get to that after, or wanted you to get to that after. I was saying something about, there was something interesting news about stock prices in there.
I didn't hear about stock price. No, I didn't hear.
I thought ChatGPT's stock went either up or I think it was up or something at first, because it's like, investors are like, oh, they're with the government, so that means stability automatically, and they tend to want to invest. I may have heard that wrong,
but I didn't look at the only.
But but the numbers you gave, that's absolutely true. It's amazing. People are like fleeing like rats off of a sinking ship. Just because they're disgusted with them jumping on board. This is a business, and here's the thing: if you read enough about it, you understand that they basically put the exact same parameters that Anthropic did. There really wasn't any difference in what they said. It's just the difference was they have a little bit more clout in who they are right now. So they basically said, we'll jump in and we'll do it, but these are our rules. Yes or no. And what are you going to do? Alienate every single AI business? Because the only one left was Google that had the money to do it. And take that kind of deal and the ability. And to be clear, I think you mentioned this not long ago, Robert. All of these companies do at least some dealings with the U.S. government in some capacity already anyways. It's not like they have no relationship with them. They all have an in there. This is just a higher level of top secret stuff they're talking about.
Right.
So.
Well, and I agree with Anthropic. I mean, their main thing was, look, they had two points they were not willing to budge on at all. One was no unauthorized surveillance of the U.S. citizens. Number two was no fully autonomous weapons that could fire on their own using only AI intervention. It had to have human intervention in order for that weapon to be able to fire. And I agree with you
Right.
because you don't want to just,
100%.
it's not ready. But see, here's the thing. Anthropic told the government, look, we will do research and development side by side with you, Department of War, Department of Justice, whatever, DOD, to come up with and make sure that future renditions are more and more reliable to get to eventually that position. But they just weren't willing to we want it now.
But because you know what it is? I mean, we make this joke all the time, but I mean, if you have a fully autonomous system that just fires upon, okay, you set the parameters, you're going to go to, Al Mazrah or whatever and attack something. And this is the building you're supposed to attack. And that's all you give it. And then it knows basically that it's looking for a specific target. Fully autonomous, it has the ability to make the decision, yes, I fire, or no, I fire, based on the fact that the school bus full of children is going inside the building. Now, a human being would probably radio in and say, there is a school bus full of children. Should I abort? Fully intending to do so, right? But the autonomous thing is not going to be thinking that. It's going to be thinking acceptable losses.
Right,
collateral damage.
It doesn't have the ability of using emotional.
There's no emotion.
Deterrent.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, some people don't, but in AI, definitely not. No, he has emotions. They're just, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, yeah, so I fully agree with it too. I think it's a horribly bad idea to allow that kind of thing, and I think Anthropic stood by them. And Anthropic's people have, when they weren't jumping ships. And here's the thing: a lot of people might, not a lot of people. Some people might be thinking, well, so are they jumping ship to Google? No, the people who are getting the Google, Gemini are basically iPhone users, Samsung users, Google users, and the average person who's doing business in their business that uses Google Workspace accounts. So it's a no-brainer, right? So that's why they have hundreds of millions of users. But the people who are using ChatGPT, who either use these other things sparingly or don't know or care about them otherwise, are like, okay, ChatGPT this, ChatGPT that. Oh, I don't like ChatGPT anymore because of what they just did. Anthropic sounds like a good company. Bam. But you know what? That's not a bad thing. If they get more business, then they have more capital, which means more R&D, which means less writing someone else's code and more developing your own and forcing other companies to now match and follow suit. So maybe they'll come up with the absolute best possible, agentic agent next year, and Google and ChatGPT will be chasing them. It's possible, and it's not a bad thing. It's good for everybody.
This whole AI situation in this type of respect is going to be a very fluid situation, probably for the next 5-10 years, really, because AI is advancing so quickly. People, humans, processes, documentation can't keep up. There's just no way that it can. We're still on rules and regulations from the Civil War in some cases. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, so-and-so found a court ruling back from 1862 that the court ruled in favor of so-and-so. And so it's like, come on. There's
laws. So at least there were several years ago, or maybe 20 years ago still, they found laws on the books in some places that were as dumb as things like you're not allowed to bowl on Sundays.
Yeah.
And of course, it's like any other city in North America. The bowling alleys are obviously open on Sundays. That's usually their third busiest day. It's like usually Wednesdays and Thursdays are the busiest for bowling leagues. Fridays for certain hours, Saturdays, but Sunday everyone's at home so they can go bowling.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that every single institution, every single government entity needs to go back to 1776 and rewrite their law books.
Yeah, no.
Use some common sense. And if you come up with a law and you're like, oh wait, that's completely ridiculous now, that doesn't even apply, and just move on to it, and just then create something that does apply. That maybe has, of course, you can't really future proof it, but maybe has some kind of future built into it. Like, okay, if this advances to this in 10 years, then this is still going to apply, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm obviously no lawyer, but yeah, it's all ridiculous. It's really what it is.
Well,
so we'll see. I think this whole thing has a lot to pan out still. It's just kind of interesting. Everybody kind of fighting and and there's been an open letter. I forgot to mention. So
open letter.
There's been an open letter that a whole bunch of people have signed from Slack, IBM, Cursor, Salesforce, and OpenAI, ironically.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Urging the DoD to back off, calling its move with Anthropic dangerous precedent. And I disagree there at all.
Yeah, and they won't. They'll back off, obviously, because they got the deal they want with ChatGPT now, or whatever it's called, the parent company. But also because that many companies are like, we're not backing you, we're backing them. That gets a little bit more scary because these are not only representing voters, they're representing. And this is the important part: is these are powerful people who put in a huge representation for the way the U.S. voting system works. And of course, we're talking about the now I can't remember the name of it. When you vote for the president, you're not actually voting. You vote for president, but it's not presidential votes.
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong with me? No, you too.
No, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Pennsylvania has a certain amount. Florida has, a certain amount. This is bad, man.
I almost say caucus, but it's not the caucus. That's
no.
Yeah,
it's. Maybe we should start doing this earlier in the day when we remember stuff. I can't believe I do this. I'm going to do this right here. And who knows? Maybe I'll edit this out. For some reason, Robert and I are having a hard time remembering what it's called when you vote for the U.S. president. It's not the votes for the president, but those things that each state has a certain amount of. What are we looking at?
You and Robert are thinking.
Electoral college.
Thank you. Yeah.
My God. As soon as I said it, I'm like, what the hell? How do you forget that?
Yeah.
Electoral college. Right. Anyways, the bottom line is there you go. That's my cut part. Cutting back in. The electoral college votes, they have a big, these are companies, the powerful people that what they do matters, and a lot of where these are the guys who decide presidents. So you piss off all of the Fortune 500 companies, you're probably not going to be president next time. Or, well, he wouldn't be anyways, but whoever's trying to take his place in his own, group of people won't stand much of a chance if they piss off all of the Fortune 500.
Next election is going to be another circus shit show.
Yeah, but you know what? This is not what this podcast is going to be about, because I was about to ask you, do the Democrats even have anybody that anybody would even vote for? But I'm guessing the answer is no right now.
It's too far away from that right now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So, but you know what? That's exactly what it was like with Canada when Trudeau said, okay, all right, under the pressure, I'm going to call an election. And everyone's going, why? We don't have anybody to vote for. And it was true. It was so true that they voted for the next liberal guy to take his place. Because if you remember, he stepped down and Carney took his place.
Right.
And then Carney called an election and won handily because there was no one else to vote for. Everybody in the country wanted to vote conservative, but they didn't feel there was a single conservative that wouldn't be another Donald Trump, but in Canada. And that's not what this is about either. So I might end up cutting this whole section out. Let's move on. Let's actually segue into, oh God, I hate to say this. All right. Google is being sued.
For the 19 billionth time, probably.
Yeah. This one is a little bit more serious. It's very similar to the ChatGPT issue that happened, what was it, a year or two ago?
Something like that.
Where someone had, and we'll, you know, I'm going to do this like a traditional YouTuber, where someone had, I was going to say the wrong term. I forgot the term you could say. All right, well, they basically expired themselves. So, but this one's a little stickier than that. It's not like the AI just said, it's okay if, or something like that. The family is claiming they went through all of the chat logs, which they also claim he used the live version of Gemini, which does not have memory feature at all, by the way. It does do the transcript, and you can actually get the regular Gemini to go back to that transcript. But their claim is that the AI groomed him over a period of time. And here's my opinion on this. It's impossible. And it is not, I'm not trying to be, insensitive to their family. Horrible loss. My heart goes out to you, but it doesn't make any sense because you have to tell the, Gemini to remember something. You have to tell it to go back and revert to a previous conversation. If you wanted to continue to have this conversation with you as if it were continuing every day, you have to remind it about the previous day and the day before and the day before. And each day you have to remind it about more and more.
Yeah, in full.
So,
you'd have to basically repeat every conversation just as you repeated it,
and remind it like every time. Yes, yeah. And if you're using the live version, it won't work because it can't go back on that memory. So you'd have to have the conversation with the live version and then tell it, well, here's a transcript of what we talked about yesterday. So you'd have to save it and tell it, remember everything. And then you'd have to do the same thing, but you'd have to give it transcript from 2 days and then 3 days and then 4 days and then 10 days. And that might be, if he did do something like that, which is possible, and they'd have no record of it. Oh, okay. Then there would be, it would be, well, basically it would just be too difficult for it to do that because inevitably he paid for the ultra version, which is like whatever, a couple hundred and change a month or something like that.
Yeah.
Ridiculously expensive, which would still require you to talk to it every day about what you're doing and what you want it to say to you. So you're basically coaching it. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm going to lose my train of thought if I keep going.
So I was going to say that it's basically the Ultra doesn't get you memory. It doesn't get you that kind of scenario. It gets you a bigger context window, more tokens, faster.
Yeah, I do. Sorry to interrupt. I do want to clarify. They were insinuating, although didn't specifically state, insinuating that he may have been on the free plan and upgraded to Ultra. However, if it turns out he was already on a pro plan and upgraded to Ultra, then that is a completely moot point that they can't argue in court.
True. Because basically, pro
however,
everything the Ultra has, but Ultra just has way more of it.
More of it, yes.
The higher priority, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the Ultra version doesn't have like a 10 million token window. They don't do that yet. That's not coming until we get like Gemini 4.0 or something. So you're still stuck at, I think it's a 2 million token for Ultra, if I'm not mistaken. But that's only in the deep thinking mode. If you're doing deep thinking mode, you're not having a long conversation. It's got to stop and think. So it's not going to be this conversational thing. And also, if it's deep thinking, it's never going to role play with you because it's going to discover that you're trying to harm yourself. And then it's going to go into a completely different life-saving mode. In order to get that completely hallucinating and role playing, you have to do the Gemini Live. And it doesn't work if you turn it off and turn it back on. Because then it goes back to it has to remind everybody. So
I don't think you just like run Gemini Live 24/7 indefinitely. I don't know. I've never tried.
No, you can't. As a free version, first of all, no. Your context window is like, what is it, 50,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 tokens? I can't remember.
You'd run
it's not very big. I think it's 100,000 tokens or something. But it's only 1 million tokens. No, it's not even. It's Gemini Live. I don't think it ever hits 1 million tokens. I think it just basically hard stops. And well, maybe it might be, but that's at once, so it never really gets there. So it will go so far, but then it starts to forget what it said, even though it's made a transcript of the entire thing. It will inevitably forget what you talked about an hour ago, and then you have to remind it, even if you leave it on.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that earlier. I don't think these guys have a leg to stand on, to be honest with you. I think at the most they might find some flaws in the system, and they might end up getting the courts to side with them on enforcing Google to make harder limits on what it's capable of doing, or putting in safety nets that prevent this type of thing a little bit easier.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be again another one of those things would be kind of interesting to see how it turns out, because, like you said, it's a terrible loss. It's a terrible thing, but ultimately, the only thing you can actually do is you can go into the personalization section and you can specifically write in information for it to remember about you, but it's not
right.
It just doesn't have the capability. It doesn't, in order to groom somebody, it would have to have an end game. Like, here's my end game. Here's why I'm doing this grooming, because I want to take this person from here to here by me, like, hypnotizing them, so to speak. I mean, that's not the word to use, but you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have that capability. That's a mental thought that you would have to tell it, okay, do this and have this process in here. And then it goes, oh, okay, point A to B, and they just connect the dots. It can't create B. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to tell it what B is. Anyway.
Exactly. Well, in the case with Gemini Live, you actually have to tell it where A is, where B is, where the line goes from A to B, and how fast you want it to get there, and if you want there to be a bus stop in the middle. It does not have any ability in its current state to actually reason in any way, shape, or form. It's not possible. Can it role play and hallucinate? Absolutely. Can it say something wrong? Yes. Can it give you bad advice? Oh, dear Lord, yes. Is it possible it could have said something it shouldn't have said that was inappropriate, that could have possibly led to this? That's not impossible, but I think the argument they're making makes it sound like they may be fishing for it. And I'm not gonna say, nefarious, because I don't know the situation. I wasn't there, and I would never actually accuse somebody of that without evidence. So I will say maybe they're wrong, or they're reading into it wrong. Should Google have some responsibility for it? If in fact the AI did at any point in time actually say you should finish yourself, then yes, Google should pay some price for it and make changes to avoid that happening. I believe that's one of the reasons why ChatGPT ended up with boring voices for 8-9 months.
Right. Yeah, they turned,
and they only just got better in the last couple of months.
Yeah, they scaled all that back because people were falling in love and doing the same thing, taking advice.
Well, but they also had a situation where someone, did the old heave ho to themselves and got sued over it as well. However, I don't believe that went very far either. I don't think. I think there was a settlement. I don't remember. I'd have to look that up again. Remember. Yeah. Nonetheless, so don't take that as fact, by the way, because I don't remember it that well. I just remember there were some issues and they had to step it back.
Right.
So we should get into some better news. The most exciting news of the evening. There's a new iPhone.
Yeah. Not sure the most exciting, but I guess for the budget users out there, it's probably pretty exciting.
If you're an iPhone user and a budget user, yeah.
Yeah, they've released kind of like how Google does their, after, flagship release of their
9A, 10A, so on and so on.
Yeah.
Or what Samsung used to do with their, yeah.
Yeah. So the 17E says it still runs off the same A19 chipset that the regular 17 runs off of. And the whole point with that, as we discussed, is that they want to have a budget phone that's fully AI capable. And this phone is supposed to be it. Once it actually comes to fruition, keep in mind, it still hasn't been released. They still have not implemented the Gemini into.
No. In all fairness, they actually are doing this with Gemini this time. And Gemini, and just to put this into perspective, if you use Windows 11 right now and you've got the new Copilot, I almost said Cortana, by the way. I might as well be introducing Clippy. No, but seriously, if you have the new, let's go do it again, Copilot. When I say new, yes, it is different than it was 6 months ago. It's definitely smarter. And you'll notice that the voices are basically, they pretty much do sound the same as ChatGPT voices. And they have that personality. It's like talking to a real person. They really do have all the inflections, and they're not done robotically. And I hate to say this about Google, but they're still a little on the robotic side. We should be expecting some updates in the next few months, by the way, for that. So that's good news. But still, ChatGPT, in my opinion, is the king of the most natural sounding voice right now, with Grok being a very close second, by the way.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and they dialed Grok back, by the way. They took out the nasty version.
I heard.
Yeah.
I heard.
So
you want to talk about somebody you could sue? I mean, that thing
yeah, exactly. No one sued Grok. Go figure. Maybe they did. They're just not telling us.
Maybe so.
Now I've lost my train of thought again. I was going to say, the Cortana, or not Cortana. Copilot, yes. Maybe they should have just named it Cortana 2. It would have been easier. Anyways, Copilot it's ChatGPT under the hood. That's what's baked into it, but it's set up specifically as Copilot, and they've added some certain things to it, but for the most part, it is ChatGPT. Well, Siri is going to be very similar. Biggest difference between that and Copilot situation is that whilst Siri will be using the Gemini engine entirely, it will have its own voice baked into it and certain features that are only available on the iPhone, because they're going to take whatever smart features that they have developed and put them with Gemini. So this is why they're taking a while to get this going, because once they made that deal, they have to work together so that this only works with Gemini. But at the same time, if they want to rip it out and do their own thing in the future, they're going to want their own code to be able to do it.
Right.
So it's a partnership that they have going right now that is costing them, what was it, like $100 million a year or something like that?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So I do expect, because it's baked in with Gemini and because Siri was a capable thing prior to the news about what it was able to do, it's going to be pretty phenomenal, I don't doubt. I think it's going to be really good. Do I think it's going to be better than a future version of Gemini? No. By the time they release it, we'll probably have Gemini 3.5, and most people will have agentic capabilities right on their phone by then. So,
I don't think that the Apple Intelligence / Siri will ever be side by side with GPT, because just like how you have Android, it comes out like almost immediately on a new, Android, new Google device. But Samsung takes a few months because it's got to bake all its shit into it. And it's got to make sure all of their, stuff.
Well, in all fairness, I think they've cut that down to just about a month now.
Yeah, but it's still behind, is my point. And so
true.
The Siri is going to be the same thing, whether it's 1 month, 1 week, 2 months. I have no idea. But
that's mainly software.
They're going to have to make it.
Yeah. But here's the thing: they're going to have access because it's a partnership with Gemini, and they're paying a lot of money. They're not going to do that so that they don't get all of the APIs and whatever it is they have to use right out of the gate. When they're available for development and for testing, they're going to get it day one. just like everyone else. And they're going to be able to say, okay, this bug needs to be fixed. It's not working. I know that, but Samsung drags their feet on it because they go, this does work, but I don't like that it works with this because I want my app to do this instead of that.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm not going to put it out yet until my app can do this. The difference is Siri will, at Apple, they'll rewrite the Siri code to make sure it works with Gemini. You know what I mean? Because they're spending $1 million a year. Or is it 10 million? No, 100 million. Sorry, $100 million a year for this. So that's different. Samsung is not paying anybody $100 million a year to use Google.
No, and I'm sure it'll be a lot faster because, like you said, it's software based. So it's not like they have to rewrite it to work with a specific hardware component. They just need to.
Only their own, and the only part they have to do on their own is anything to do with Siri itself, which it already does. So they're already wiring the Siri code. It's just that it's not smart enough to do anything other than open stuff. But in being able to actually add the Gemini code into it, all they have to do is basically give Gemini the agentic capability, which it will have because it will have agentic capabilities to do whatever Siri tells it to do.
Yeah.
Siri will tell Gemini what it needs outside of the phone, and Gemini will deliver it, and Siri will operate anything on the phone natively without the help of Gemini because it's just operating stuff on the phone. But by still steering another channel into Gemini so it can still keep the chatbot capabilities and natural sounding voice.
Yeah,
so
and they're already going to have all their coding and all their whatever they do for the NPU that's in there. So that's already going to be, part of it. So I think it'll probably be a faster, rendition. But
it's going to be like, I don't care what anybody says. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. If you're an iPhone user, you're going to love it. It's going to be great. You'll probably be bragging around, oh, you wish you had an iPhone and not an Android. Look what my phone can do. Yeah, we've been doing it for years. You're using what we have, except you got a different voice on yours. And the truth of the matter is, if Samsung does more embrace this Bixby thing, get with the program. It's not a different chatbot. They're just going to do the same thing with the agentic abilities and have Bixby be on top of Gemini.
I hate Bixby. I despise.
Yeah, but my point is, if they do that, because there's a lot of hot topic talk that they want to keep Bixby alive and bring it back better than ever, they're not going to make their own AI. I mean, does Samsung have a lot of R&D money? Yes, but can they start from scratch? No. They're basically just going to tap completely into Google because they're already married to each other now. They're on their third anniversary already. Yeah. This is their second honeymoon now.
I'm interested to see how the whole Perplexity integration is going to play out because supposedly, and they've been very open about it, that it's going to come natively with Perplexity app or whatever built into it as well. So I don't know how those two things.
Are you talking about Samsung, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's Perplexity they're going to have the Bixby thing with then. Although I can't see very good personality going with that.
Why would you have Bixby and Perplexity and Gemini?
Oh, because it's Samsung. If they want to do that, why would they have Perplexity at all then? What's the point? If they don't integrate it into something. See, the thing is that I think the reason that they were even considering was Perplexity was the first one to say, we're going to give you agentic abilities right this second before everyone else does natively in front of you. Everyone else is saying, we're still working on it. Now that it's getting pushed out everywhere else, Perplexity's appeal to me is dropping like a stone.
Yeah, so it says here that yes, the S26 Ultra announced February 26 features Perplexity AI deeply integrated into the operating system as part of a multi-agent approach to Galaxy AI, which is Gemini. Gemini is Galaxy AI, so.
Multi-agent AI. So it's making sense to me now. So what did you call it? Galaxy AI, which means it's multi-agent. It's whatever Samsung puts into it.
Yeah, but it said, so this is something new here. It says users can use the Hey Plex voice command for long press the side button to summon the AI. That's the first.
Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Well,
hey, Plex, that's stupid.
A buddy of mine is considering ordering the phone, so if he does get it,
well,
I'll make sure he checks it out.
Yeah, I actually tried to convince my wife to get rid of her S23 and get one so I could play around with it, but she's like, I don't want to upgrade. You gotta keep.
Yeah, you should get her to get a Pixel.
Well, my wife has a lot.
I'm just saying.
Diabetic stuff that's on her phone. That
okay.
With all her stuff.
Yeah.
And she uses what she feels comfortable with that she knows works.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course. You know, and I'll say the same thing. I make all the jokes all the time, right? And I'm not an iPhone user, and I don't want to be. But whatever's comfortable for you. This is why I'm saying, you know, in full honesty and the total truth, the updates for the Siri integration with Gemini, I think is going to be absolutely fantastic, and you're absolutely going to love it. The next phone they have is probably going to be really, really good. The one they have now, what is it, 17, I think? 17 series. They're actually really good phones, and they look good. I have no desire to use one, but that's just me, right? I also don't have any desire to use a Samsung. But spoiler alert, they make really good phones. Just because I don't want one doesn't mean it's not good. So,
well, and just like I told you the other day, that I felt that after using the camera on my Pixel 10 Pro XL this last weekend when we went to Wisconsin, I used it a lot, and worked great pictures. But I do feel that Samsung has a little bit of an edge in its experience in using the camera system and the anti-vibration. What do you call it? Where it
stabilization.
You don't see the shaking in the phone.
Stabilization.
Stabilization. Sorry.
Right.
It's better than the Pixel.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think so, but that's the stabilization is that there's a big fat argument one way or the other, because any two phones can be right beside each other, and one just doesn't work as well as the next guy's for the exact same model of phone. And it shouldn't be the case, but it's just true, because I've seen guys with Samsung's the same phone as that you have, and it's just not as good. Right, as the next guy I saw. I've seen guys show me pictures from their Samsung that I have to admit look as good and sometimes better than my Pixel. You have actually showed me pictures that I thought, well, Jesus, that's a damn nice looking picture. But I've also seen ones where I thought, geez, the Pixel would take a way better shot than that. There's so many factors in there, and it's also subjective. Obviously not the anti-shake thing, the stabilization. But at the same time, it depends on what mode of stabilization you're talking about. Samsung does have a specific mode that works better. However, that freaking amount of crop is not good for some people who want to shoot without that ridiculous crop in order to get that unbelievably good stabilization.
Yeah, but like I showed you that video on the S26 Ultra, they have that horizon lock like the GoPro. That's kind of a game changer with a phone.
That's another story. That's not the phone you have now, though, is it?
No, I know. I'm just saying that's a camera.
But no, I know you like using the term game changer. It's not a game changer. No, it's not. And I'll tell you why. Because nobody's going to do that with a phone. It's not an action cam. Is it neat? Yes. Is it a toy? Yes. But it's going to end up being no more used than Pixel 9 and 10's temperature sensor.
I deal with this all the time. Okay, if I hold my phone and I'm doing this and my phone's
I never said nobody, did I? And if I did, I apologize.
I would use it all the time.
You would. And maybe a few hundred people would. Maybe a couple of thousand. But hundreds of thousands will not.
I don't know about that.
People will play with it for a while. Amazing. It's kind of like when they first made don't get me wrong, waterproofing a phone is the absolute greatest thing ever done to phones. Thank you, Sony. Okay, for those who don't remember, yes, Sony started it. But having your phone and you're going, okay, I'm going to do this right now. Yeah, people will play with it.
It's not about that. It's about you're on a train.
Let me finish, please.
You're on a bicycle. I mean,
let me finish, please. Here's the thing. It's an excellent feature in what it does for those who actually need it. You happen to be one of those people. What I'm saying is it's not a game changer in that sense, because the vast majority of people who are going to use something like that for that sense are using a freaking GoPro that's been doing that for nearly 10 years. That's all I'm saying. It's not a game changer. It's an excellent feature that, in all honesty, I wouldn't mind if I had it on this, but I still wouldn't call it a game changer. That's all I'm saying.
It's subjective. To me, it's a game changer. To you,
okay, there you go. To you, it's a game changer. To me, it's just a cool feature.
Huge. It would be huge.
Yeah. You know what? To somebody with 3 toddlers that get sick all the time, this is a game changer. For those who don't know, I just took a screenshot. For those who don't know, that is the temperature sensor. And yes, it does work. How accurately? Better than it did when it was first launched. But no, use a thermometer. Or the laser one. But but to be honest with you, if it's within a degree and you're looking at your own temperature, if you're sick and it's high and you're within a degree, it's not accurate enough. If it's within a degree of your normal temperature, it's accurate enough. And there you go. And yes, you can actually use it to take the temperature of the outside of your turkey.
I wonder how many people are going to stick their phone in a turkey now.
You don't have to stick it in the turkey. I said the outside of the turkey. I'm not stupid.
No, I know.
I said the outside of the turkey. What I wish they would do, though, I wish they would put a FLIR camera on it. That would be way better. Because I think there are some Chinese phones that have FLIR cameras.
I have no idea
that would be cool.
And neither does 99% of our viewers have no idea what a FLIR camera is.
No, you're wrong. Comment below if you know what a FLIR camera is. Go ahead. I'll give you a chance to comment. Yes or no, you know what a FLIR camera is.
I hear crickets.
Okay, so some of those people may have commented, hopefully, but a FLIR camera, that's the one that's night vision.
Okay,
let me look up.
Just say
because it's a FLIR, because it's called a FLIR.
But
everybody knows that.
9% of the population.
I would say 99.9% of people do know what a FLIR camera is.
I think you're right.
Please give me definition of FLIR. Not definition. I'm saying break down FLIR camera, as in FLIR. Yeah, I had to say that twice because Gemini sometimes, FLIR, why I had to tell it to do it properly. What does FLIR mean? Forward-looking infrared.
I know what infrared is. You could have said infrared camera. You could have said
because it's FLIR. Because it's a FLIR.
FLIR. No one knows it.
Everyone knows it by FLIR.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Comment below. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want us to send whatever snow we have left before it melts down to Nashville, Tennessee, tell us in the comments and we will ship it all to Robert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No? You don't want it?
No.
Okay. How would you like Windows? How would you like an AI version of Windows 12?
I would send the flames of Hades to burn Toronto to the ground if you send me that snow.
Well, you're lucky. Spring's coming, so it's probably going to be even warmer there than it is here. So, anyway. We'll give it to you next year. How about Halloween on the date? Bam, right there. Right before you're about to send kids out. Poof, a foot of snow just like that. Let's get serious now. Right, like that's going to happen. All right, the Windows 12 situation. You heard something and then I heard something.
Yeah, so you corrected me because I was apparently reading all of these rumors that was feeding off the one rumor that actually, as you'll mentioned is not accurate.
Right.
Windows 12 was coming out by end of year. Yeah. I actually was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I should have known.
Yeah, but I also had a different reaction than you did. And it turns out a lot of people were going back and forth between the reactions like what you had and the reaction like what I had. I think it's a terrible idea, quite frankly. We should mention, though, what they're talking about is a modular form of Windows. And you wonder, what modular? I'm starting to think of that project, whatever it was called, with the Google phone that you're putting together. But no, what they basically means there's certain features that you can say, no, I don't want that. I just want this. So here's the thing. This is one reason why I did wonder if it was real or not, was because if you can say, I don't want this, but I do want that, why are they forcing you to take the one feature that removes all possibility of privacy? We're talking baked in AI, so unbelievably baked in. It's literally an AI focused Windows 12. So they make it sound like as if you're going to have, let's put it this way. Let's say Gemini basically was the new Android, and Android was just a browser to open apps and internet searches, while Gemini itself was the entire operating system. Then every single thing you did would be recorded by Gemini. This is kind of the idea. It's not going to be that bad, but this is the idea that got into a lot of people's heads about how an AI-focused Windows 11 would be. And I personally think it's terrible, even if it's only 1/10 that bad. However, it does say a new report has caught the internet's attention, claiming that Windows 12 is coming this year, will be a modular AI-powered OS. Here's why that's wrong. People are up in arms over a new report that appears to claim that Windows 12 and so on and so on. Basically, the report appears to have originated from PC World, but has gained mass attention on Reddit, which does explain a lot, by the way, with over 12,000 upvotes and thousands of angry comments. So, yeah, it's really easy to find stuff on the internet, even with some sites where you would normally assume are real, and they're not happening. And if you wonder how bad that can be or how easy it is for that to happen, this is an easy mistake for somebody to make.
Yeah.
Unlike, the one with something Wong, We Too Low, and if you remember that one after that plane crash, terrible, Joe. And I laugh at it. I mean, I'm laughing about it now because, let's face it, it was a long time ago. I didn't laugh about it that day because it was terrible. I thought it was disgusting. I hope somebody got fired, actually, because you don't do the research. But and that's on network television, because that was back in those days, right? But to get this to happen on the internet is so much easier. Bad information is out there. And yes, you can even get this from Gemini or ChatGPT, because if you would ask ChatGPT or Gemini 7 hours ago, they'd probably give you the information that you had, Robert. If you ask it now, it'll probably say, well, there's some evidence that it may have been false. Right? So it goes back and forth. So personally, I'm glad that it's not true. I do believe they're probably working on an AI focused and possibly modular. It's just not going to be anything that's going to come close until they're ready. So
yeah, and we'll have to see how it all actually comes to fruition. But yeah, I do think it's going to come to fruition. I actually think that you're going to see at some point OpenAI with its own operating system. They're going to have their own like a Chromebook kind of computer that's running some kind of OpenAI OS. Is just my thought.
Well, if OpenAI does that, I tell you, there's one of three things. It's either going to be made by Lenovo. It'll be something made by TCL. I know you're wondering, TCL, what are you talking about? They make TVs. They make phones too. So will they make tablet? Yeah, they do. So that means they can probably make a computer. Or it'll be made by Microsoft, but not branded Microsoft.
Yeah.
So I believe that's possible. That'll happen in the future. And I do think you probably see one of those three build partners working with them on it. Because they're not just going to R&D
No.
I mean, keep in mind, because as good as they are, especially with, the new government contracts and everything, to R&D equipment when you've never made anything. And technically speaking, they've been in debt all this time. If you think about it.
Not made any profit.
Yeah, exactly. So they would have like zero chance. I mean, don't get me wrong. Banks will jump on board with them now with a government contract, provided they get far enough into that government contract and sign some other deals with other companies where they work together.
Yeah.
But that's not, I think it's possible in the future, but it's nothing. Nothing we're going to see like next
Nothing
week,
we know
and certainly not from scratch.
But yeah, no.
Yeah,
I think you're right. They're going to use some kind of hardware from some other manufacturer because it's already existing. It already exists.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, yeah,
Microsoft is probably the better choice only because they already have ARM-based computers. So
yeah, exactly.
It'd probably be a lot easier to implement that into an ARM-based.
So does TCL. Keep in mind, TCL can manufacture anything, and they can manufacture anything to ship virtually anywhere in the world at this point in time. There's almost nowhere where you can't sell TCL branded products. So having them manufacture it and be ChatGPT branded from TCL, as long as it's widely known that TCL is the manufacturer, you could pretty much sell it anywhere if you're not Google or Apple. They wouldn't have that issue. With Microsoft, they shouldn't have that issue, but might, right? So, but I do agree that Microsoft would be the better choice if they want to make a decent profit up to a certain point. But here's the thing, and here's the argument for TCL. TCL can make anything less for less money.
Yeah.
Period. They're pioneers in their own imaging, their display technology. They don't use Samsung displays. They don't use LG displays. They use their own displays. So again, they can manufacture virtually everything except the chipsets themselves.
Yeah.
So
kind of reminds me of when I used to work at the dealership. I was a Ford dealership. This guy came in pissed off because his Ford Explorer was a piece of shit. And it was. He had it in constantly for problems. I didn't disagree with that.
Right.
But he got all pissed off. And then, like, I don't know, a month later, he comes back in and he's driving a Mazda.
Sorry.
He's driving a Mazda Navajo.
Oh, no.
And he started bragging about how awesome his Mazda is. This is a Japanese car.
It's a Ford chassis, isn't it? And an engine?
Dude, the entire thing is Ford, with the exception.
Oh, the whole thing. Okay, I thought it was just the drivetrain and the
No,
even the body panels.
No,
it's like the Suzuki Swift. It's like the Suzuki Swift versus whatever it was called.
Yeah, it just looks a little different because the panels are different. But I walked him over to his car. I said, "Can I just show you something real quick?" I said, he's like, "Yeah, sure, show me. What are you going to show me? Because this is awesome." And I opened the door where it says, "Manufactured for Mazda by Ford." And I just closed his door. I said, "Have a nice day. Enjoy your Ford." He was so pissed, dude. He could not believe it.
If you're going to tell a story like that, and we're probably getting to the end of this anyway. What time is it? Oh, I can't even see it on there. But I'll just tell a quick one. When I was in grade school, not grade school, it was like junior high school, or what you call middle school in the States, I think, right? My mother drove a Ford Pinto. So naturally, me and my sister kept saying, you need to get rid of this because we don't want to die. Right? Because we see all of the stuff about it. Somebody's going to tap the back of it. It's going to blow up instantly. Yeah, you got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of it. We bugged her for like 4 or 5 months. One day I come home from school and the Ford Pinto is gone. And there's a station wagon sitting there. And my jaw dropped. Keep in mind, I was in like grade 8 or 9. I think I was in grade 9. Well, no, I think it was grade 9. Yeah, and my jaw just dropped onto the ground immediately. It's like, why? Why would you do this? I mean, I don't. At this point, I don't even know anything about cars yet in my life, right? But here's what it was. It was a station wagon version of a Mercury Bobcat. For those of you who don't know, and I know, Robert, you do, because you worked at a Ford dealership, it's the exact same car as the Ford Pinto. So I went in the house. I said, Mom, what are you doing? What is that thing out there? He said, well, you kept telling me to buy a new car, so I traded it in for the exact same car. She said, no, it's not. It's a different color, and it's a station. I said, but it's still a Bobcat. The gas tank is still 3 inches from the bumper. And that's not an exaggeration, by the way. It really was 3 inches from the bumper.
My mom bought a Renault Alliance one time. I begged her not to buy it. She bought it. The biggest piece of shit ever rolled. A year later, it caught fire outside the house. They lived like in a townhome, so it was on the street.
So did my mom's Bobcat.
But here's the thing: my stepdad at the time ran out, and somebody was about to get the hose. He said, "No, let it burn." He's like, "This is the best thing that's ever happened to me." I was like, "Fair enough."
Oh no.
So, all right, well, we're going to wrap this up. So listen, before we go, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do right down below. And remember, we have started Simple AI Life coaching and community. So I'm going to put links in the description. Go check out the Stand store. There's free resources, free prompt guides. We talk a lot about AI, and it has some amazing opportunities inside the community for learning. We are teaching some, small courses, and we just realized that, we talk a lot to people that want to use it, don't use it because they just don't have the understanding of it. You hear all these bad stories and it just freaks people out. But keep in mind that most of this bad story stuff is like a small piece of the whole puzzle. It's not the whole thing. It's still lots of good in AI, lots of fun.
Yes. In fact, I think next podcast, we should actually talk about all of the fantastic things that Gemini and ChatGPT have done for us, especially recently with the latest updates. But check all that stuff out. Simple AI Life, and like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, as Robert said. Before we go
next week. Oh, look, see, we have the same kind of thing. I have a new AI app that I discovered from a podcaster that I listen to. His name is Matt Wolf. He's pretty awesome. It's called locally.ai.app. It can run on your phone. Well, it runs on an iPhone, Apple, the Mac, or an
doesn't run on my phone then.
I actually installed it on an old iPhone 12. It works. I installed it on a MacBook Air. It works. I'm going to play around with it. So next week, I'll have some information on how cool that is, because it actually worked pretty well. It's all local, so you could actually run it with no internet. And he did a demo, no internet. So,
but the most important thing is this week we have to do, because I want to make this easy, thumbnail time. Okay, so you'll get that if you've already seen it. I am Lionel from Toronto, Canada.
And I am Robert from Nashville, Tennessee. See you next week. Peace.